To what the mainstream media was afraid to tell you about the news this week. While the mainstream media obsessed over President Trump's Independence Day celebration, here are the things that happened that really matter. According to a CNN poll, 58% of Americans oppose free health care for illegal aliens. 57% of Americans oppose abolishing private health insurance. According to a different poll, only 26% of Americans support Medicare for all when they are told it will lead to longer wait times and higher taxes. According to a Marist poll, 81% of Americans, Republicans and Democrats, pro-life and pro-choice, oppose late-term abortion. And yet, Democrats, and in particular the Democrat presidential candidates, are ignoring the majority of people on all of these issues. But did the mainstream media report this to you? Well, aside from the brief announcement of the CNN poll itself, nope. The mainstream media barely mentioned the consequences of this data and the Democrats' contradiction of voters. A bill in the California state legislature would allow biological men who identify as women to be housed in women's prisons. There's no exemption in this bill for biological men who have committed violent sexual crimes against women and now claim to identify as women. Those people would still be allowed to be housed in the women's prison population. And shockingly, only 2 people spoke out against this in the California state legislature. And yet, did the mainstream media report on how dangerous this is for the vulnerable women in prison who have no means of escape, no means of self-defense from predatory men housed with them? Nope. Neither the mainstream media nor feminists who claim to champion women said a word. Antifa attacks journalist Andy Ngo in Portland, Oregon because Ngo was reporting on Antifa's public counter-protest. Let me repeat. A violent group of domestic terrorists committed a heinous assault on the free press by attacking a journalist for the sin of being a journalist. They beat him so badly he suffered a brain hemorrhage. But did the mainstream media report on the facts? Did the mainstream media, who have spent the past 2 years claiming that President Trump calling CNN fake news is an assault on the free press, did these same media talking heads decry this actual assault on the free press at the hands of violent left-wing thugs who have been praised before by Democrats? Nope. In fact, only a very few mainstream media pundits, including Jake Tapper and Brian Stelter, condemned this attack. But others at their own network, like Chris Cuomo, Don Lemon, and Kamau Bell, have actually praised Antifa and their violence before. The Democrats' Medicare for All plan would force hospitals to close across our country, and here's why. The reimbursement rate for Medicare patients to medical providers and hospitals is 87 to 89 cents on the dollar. That means medical providers lose money on Medicare patients. So if everybody in our nation was forced onto this plan, a Medicare for All plan, at that reimbursement rate, that would mean 80% of hospitals across the U.S. would begin to lose money, which could, and inevitably would, lead to the closure of many hospitals, particularly rural hospitals that treat lower-income Americans. But did the mainstream media report on this? No, of course they didn't. The mainstream media doesn't care about the sorry people as long as the Democrats take control of our government. The mainstream media doesn't care to report any of that to you. So we will.